Well, actually, into today's video, we're going to have a look at where we're going off into the end of April today. Ever since we did the April month-ahead forecast at the start of the month, there's always been the suggestion that the final week of the month could turn significantly colder. Now, we've still got those suggestions within the model output this morning, and they're starting to come into the time frame of the shorter model output as well. So we'll have a look at all the detail on that in a moment. But before I get on with that, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on all of the pages at GazOffice.com. Have a browse through the widgets. Widget sits just underneath the video here on the homepage. Have a browse through the articles there. But if you're interested, please click through. And because you're clicking from GazOffice to where that article is, we get a review fee on what you're doing. Also, there's video ads on most of the page. They open out within the content, so have a quick watch of those. And again, all these things are helping to pay the website, so thanks so much for getting involved. It allows me to sit here and talk to you via GazOffice, so thanks so much for getting involved and doing that. Going to start off with Central England temperature from Hadley, just to show what's happened in April so far. It's been a very warm month so far, with the anomaly coming out at 2.7 degrees above average, 9.3 Celsius. So we're almost running about 3 degrees above the 30-year average for April. Most of the months, or all of the months so far this year, have been above average, but only around half a degree. Anomaly in January is 0.6. In February, 0.3, and in March, 0.7 above average. So it's been running around half a degree above average, but April is proving to be a significantly warmer month. And are we reverting back to sort of the mega warmth that we had in 2014? It's a possibility that we are, but as I say, there are these suggestions within the model output that we might start to see some colder conditions for the final week or so of the month. Now, we've got more warmth coming up over the next few days, so this is a GFS temperature chart for tomorrow, and we can see that temperature's about average tomorrow. So we're going to be around 14, 15 degrees for England and Wales, around 10, 11, 12 for Scotland. But as we run through, you see that the warmth pushes back up again as we go through into Tuesday. Much of England and Wales back up to 20 or 21, so again up to around 68, 70 Fahrenheit, way above average time of year. Wednesday could be up to 22 or 23 degrees for some parts of England. That's sort of the average temperature for the middle of summer, average temperature for the middle of July. So proper taste of summer coming up for England and Wales. It's not for Scotland. Up in Scotland, you'll be under cloud and persistent sort of light rain and drizzle, so much cooler up there. But for England and Wales, I think we are going to get a taste of summer as we go through the course of this week. So that will just push the central England temperature and the anomaly up even further. But as I say, there are these suggestions that we could turn it colder for the final week of month. Will be a very strange April if that comes off. These are the 500 millibar height anomalies from the CFS V2 model, broken down into week period. This is sort of the long range model from the United States. So for the first weekly period, we've got the high pressure there to the south, the low pressure is up to the north, the flow is going like that. So on the warm side of the jet, which is high pressure through the coming week, and that's the 17th of April. It's going to be a very pleasant week. As I say, that's why we're getting that warmth coming up from the south, because the ridge is sitting there just to the south of the country, pushing the warmth up from, it actually originates from some parts of North Africa and the central Mediterranean. Now, as we move through to the second weekly period, this goes from the 18th to the 24th of April, the high pressure is repositioning. It still sort of stretches down into central parts of Europe, but it's also retrogressing, which means it's going from east to west as opposed to zonal, which is west to east. It's retrogressing out into the central part of the Atlantic and starting to move up towards Greenland, which is just there. The flow with that is going like that. So we're still relatively mild with that. We're still under the ridge, but it's just signs that this deep trough is beginning to set up over Scandinavia. And the jet stream is beginning to elongate and start to begin to push cooler at this point towards us. Now, as we go through to the third weekly period, significant changes. Then this takes us from the 25th of April through to the 1st of May. And look what's happened. The ridge has gone down into southeastern parts of Europe. it's also gone up towards Greenland, and this very deep trough is sitting there across northwestern Europe. So the jet stream is going like that. We're going on to the cold side of the jet. We're under a trough of low pressure, so that turns significantly colder for the final stages of April. Again, been a very consistent signal from the CFSV2 to do this, turns significantly colder for the final stages of April. And also relatively unsettled as well, because we're under a trough of low pressure. The ridges have sort of broken apart. And then the trough just continues really as we go through the first week of May. This is the 2nd to the 8th of May. The trough does position more towards Iceland and the north of Scotland, ridging developing around Spain and Portugal. So generally what's happening here is that although it's still unsettled, although we're still under the trough of low pressure, what's happening here is that the flow is going more westerly. So the temperatures would be starting to recover after those northerlies of the end of April. The temperatures at the start of May will be starting to recover, although it still is relatively unsettled, probably very unsettled actually, under that trough of low pressure. Here's how the temperature anomalies stack up with this. So obviously for the coming week it's going to be significantly warmer than average, with the anomaly coming out around 2 to 2.5 degrees above average once again. For the second weekly period, this is the period where it's all beginning to change. We're still coming out above average, not as warm an anomaly as the first weekly period, but nevertheless we're still above average up to the 24th of April. As we move through into the third weekly period, we go colder than average, so we're in those green colours then. The temperatures are going colder than average significantly, so maybe up to 2 degrees colder than average, and colder than average temperature anomalies continue into the fourth weekly period as well, albeit they're beginning to recover as the flow goes more from the north to the west. So we've still got this idea amongst the longer range output that we're going to see this dropping temperature at the end of April. If it comes off, it'll be a very good forecast. The precipitation anomaly stacking up like this for the coming month. The first week period, dry and average in the south, a little bit wetter up in the north. The second weekly period comes out drier than average as well, in those orange colours. As we go through to the third weekly period, though, we're going to average rainfall. So that's a wetter week coming through under that trough of low pressure, and again we're wetter than average for the final week, the 2nd to the 8th of May. So again, still these suggestions that as we get through to the final week or so of April, there's significant changes taking place. This is beginning to show up in the shorter range model output as well. So this is the GFS generic chart for Saturday the 18th of April, so this coming Saturday, under a ridge of high pressure. It'll be cooler than it will during the middle part of the week when it's going to get very warm. Temperatures are close to average under this high pressure by next weekend, but it still mainly is settled. As we go through to Sunday the 19th, high pressure continues through to Monday the 20th. High pressure continues again, but notice it's beginning to pull out a little bit into the Atlantic, and then we go through to Tuesday the 21st, and proper retrogression is taking place, and the high pressure is moving out into the Atlantic and starting to push up towards Greenland. This trough is developing around Scandinavia, beginning to push the flow down into the north. As we go through to day 10 and beyond, we find ourselves setting up into a proper northerly wind by Thursday the 23rd of April, ridging in the Atlantic and pushing up towards Greenland and Iceland, and that continues through into the end of sort of next week, up to Friday the 24th of April. The area value is really quite cold indeed. We've got -5 isotherm there coming down across the country, would certainly be enough to produce significant night frost, and we could be looking at snow showers for parts of Scotland on that one as well. The ECMWF shows high pressure over country for Saturday the 18th, so got agreement there. There was a suggestion that we might get a bit of a fungy plume at the end of the coming week. It looks like high pressure is going to keep that down over France. Now, got to keep an eye on it. It might still come up, but really it looks like high pressure from the end of the week into next weekend and turning a bit cooler under that high pressure. So the ECM by Monday 20th of April has the high pressure still there over the top of the country, but again, look at this, as we go through to Tuesday 21st and on into Wednesday 22nd, there's definitely retrogression taking place. We don't quite pull off the northerly up to that point because we keep this ridge, part of the ridge anyway, over the country. But if we was to run on another 24 hours, I think we would find this trough of low pressure moving down from the north and turning the winds into a northerly flow. So again, suggestions there, reading between the lines, that we could get this change in the final week of the month. Finally, the GEM, very bullish about this northerly. So for Saturday the 18th, high pressure is in across the country. It's there for Sunday the 19th, but by Monday the 20th, high pressure going out into the Atlantic, retrogressing up towards Greenland. And look at this northerly that we pull down by the time we get through to Wednesday 22nd, a real northerly blast coming through there, and lots of blocking up over Greenland. If we had anything like that in the winter, it would have turned really cold. Of course, we're talking about April, so we're only really concentrating on night frost. I think there will be snow. Certainly there would be snow showers for Scotland if that came off, but it's probably over top of GEM. It's always a bit over top and a bit different to the GFS and the ECMWF. But certainly night frost is a risk, I think, as we're going into the final week of the month. Possibly snow showers up to the north as well. If this northerly comes off, it's still all the way off. We've not got total agreement on it by any means, so let's wait and see how it develops. But yeah, the signals are still there for a change to colder conditions for the final week of the month. It will be very interesting to see how this develops. If it does come off, it'll be hats off to the CFS and JMA, which were picking this up right at the start of the month. But we'll wait and see how it goes. That's it for now then. Thanks very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Bye.